And I was like, oh, wait, there he is again. I'm like, oh my God, he's goring some dude. And he's like, he's goring some dude. And I ran up and I said, pop! And I was like, oh, I did it again. Oh, it's all so awesome, right? I was like, yes, this is awesome. I'm like, look at the balls on me now. I'm not a pussy. And I'm like, I'm stoked about it. And I was like, watch this. I'm going to run back out there. I started running over there. And the dude's like, and he looks at me and he's like, boom. And I'm like, oh no. And this is all on film, so if you guys want to see it, I'm sure you can go back on some of my journal entries or go to buzznet.com and you can see that. And, you know, I got knocked upside down, and luckily the bull's horns went on both sides of me. Okay, now these aren't the little bulls that you see in, like, Jackass or anything like that. They still have their full sharp horns, and they went on both sides of me, so it didn't hit me, but it went off my knuckles, so my knuckles started bleeding, and I got knocked on the ground, and some crazy Frenchman's like, oh my God! So I don't know if you guys saw that, but he's like, oh my God! I'm like, holy shit, I'm not dead, that's awesome, right? So yeah, that's just another one of those things about how I like to throw myself in the deep end. And speaking of that, about 2 weeks ago, I decided to go swimming in Lake Michigan. I don't know if you guys, has anybody been to Chicago before?
I'm from Michigan, so I've been to Michigan.
Okay. So you know that Lake Michigan is like, it looks like the ocean. Like if you go there, like people are like, it's a big lake, it doesn't count, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, but it looks like the ocean. You go and it's like a big beach and there's waves and you can't see the other side. It looks like the ocean. And so, I don't swim very well, okay? You know, I grew up in a lower middle class suburb, so there was, you know, none of us had pools. And the one kid who did was like, lived like 2 miles away, and he was the rich dude because there was a slide, and you know, it was like 4 feet of water, and it's like, you know, you just kind of like, you know, you spin around, do the whirlpool. You know what I'm talking about? You spin around, and then you like float, and you're like, ooh. That was all that I ever really knew of swimming, you know. And then I learned how to swim like when I was in high school. That was when I learned how to swim because I had water wings on. Yeah, I was in high school, water wings, what? And I'm swimming, and then I took them off. And I just did the same thing, and I could swim. I was like, holy shit, I swim! And so I swam from that monitor to like that monitor. And I was like, oh man, I can totally swim. I'm awesome, right? I don't swim very well. I can enough to save my life, but not very well. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know, like, you know, I run a lot. I ran a marathon a couple years ago. I'm like, I bike a lot, you know. I'm like, I want to swim. I want to know what that's like. I want to swim. You know, I'm like, I want to do laps. I want to be the guy who does laps. Oh, that's my boy Chris over there. Yeah, he does laps in Lake Michigan. I'm like, oh, cool. I want to be that dude, right? I'm like, let's try it out, you know. You know, like, you never want to stop learning. You know, you always want to try new things. I'm like, yeah, it's scary, but I'm going to do it. Now, yeah, it looks like a beach, but it's still a city. Like, it's right in the middle of downtown Chicago, okay? So it's like buildings, stop, road, water, okay? In this one part that I go to, at least. It's called North Avenue Beach, and I rode my bike up there. And I go there, and what it is there's part of it where it's like a running trail, biking path, and it's like all concrete, and it stops. And then it's just a drop-off, and then there's water. Now the water right there is about 15 to 20 feet deep, and I'm not that tall, and the waves crash into the thing, because it doesn't have sand.